Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by TheLines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we've got play of props here on a Wednesday for you guys in the NBA. We are going to be looking at this stuff early here. It's Tuesday night, late night. Well, we still have that Nuggets and Celtics game on right now. So we'll be getting some early value here with you. Definitely make sure to shop these lines tomorrow when you're checking stuff out here on Wednesday. We also have best bets up in a separate episode in addition to these play of props that we're bringing you now. So make sure to come back and check those out as well. And we'll be bringing you both moving forward throughout the season. Nate, let's go ahead. Get right into your first NBA play of prop that we have here for Wednesday.
Yeah, big game Donnie means you get some value here on his. They're just hanging up his season average here at home, 22.5 points, as if this game doesn't mean anything more with OKC coming to town. I know they have a great defense, but Caruso and Chet are not out there, so that at least helps. I mean, it specifically helps in this matchup. Like Lou Dort is not going to be able to guard Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Kason Wallace could do a pretty good job. Like the Thunder have bodies to throw at him. By all means, They also, I know you like the assists because they do force the ball out of the hands of the primary ball handler, but it's kind of like a Jokic scenario where it's just like I don't care what your numbers are against centers or against guys who score in these areas. Like if Donovan Mitchell wants to get going, he's going to get going, especially at home, and that's why he averages his 22, but he plays only 30 minutes a game because the Cavs are killing people. And you look at it. The last six where they've been -5 or less, and it's not a back-to-back, it's a normal rest situation, he averages 30. You look at his splits against Boston and Milwaukee in the last 3 seasons, averaging 28 against Milwaukee, 35 against Boston. And those teams recently are first and second defending shooting guards. So it's not like these are cupcake matchups. It's in fact the opposite. It's that they are tough matchups. Therefore, Donovan Mitchell is called upon because, it's not just Evan Mobley dunking on people because they can't handle the Cavs rotation. It's like the Thunder can handle what they're going to throw at them. I mean, the biggest threat sometimes to Donnie scoring is Darius Garland going off, right? And it's just like he might have a lot more trouble against this point of attack defense. So yeah, just look at the straight splits too. The more minutes he gets, the higher the usage gets. If he plays 40 plus minutes, it's a 37% usage rate on the year. And that's exactly what we're talking about. It's like, okay, the Cavs are actually tested. Donnie, who's entered the season kind of like, all right, we're gonna have a balanced attack. I'm gonna let everybody else get involved, and he's done that the last few games because they haven't needed him. But that damn straight, they're gonna need him in this one.
Yeah, for sure. I think Donnie good for everything. Like I'll just play off of that because my first pick is the assists. I like 4.5 dimes. I'm still getting -115 for him to get 5, and the ball's just going to be in his hands that much. And that's the thing is like, yes, this team is very good at limiting points to primary ball handlers. They're going to ball pressure. Well, first of all, there's 2 primary ball handlers, and one of them is a lot better at cutting through the lane with the ball in his hands, and that man is Donovan Mitchell, not Darius Garland. I do think Darius Garland will be the beneficiary of some of Donnie's assists that I see him getting tonight because Darius is doing a lot more of the spot up, despite having more assists, I believe still accruing more assists this year so far than Donnie. Donnie's still up higher in the touches, higher in passes made, higher in passes received. And so like Darius, as much as you call him like a facilitator, he's not the actual primary ball handler that actually does go a slight uptick to a slight tick to Donnie over Darius in that sense. So with the ball in his hands, like he's just going to be able to do more in those situations than Darius Garland, who's not as explosive, not as athletic, and it really relies on being a little bit more slithery in that sense. And I don't think you can slither around these guards as much as you just really need to get past them with the quickness, and that's what Donnie brings. So just to add to the assists here, like I do see them forcing the ball out of his hands, but once again, he's going to have the ball in his hands so much that I'm good with both props. And 22.5 is I'd be playing that number more than anything. Like Donnie at 22.5 is going to be good in a big game. That's what the bulk of your analysis is, and I agree with that. I don't think he's good for necessarily just going off for 30 because I do think that he'll have the ball forced out of his hands enough. But I do think that this is also at like an accurate total here. I think it was at like 228, 229. So it's at 227 right now. Not necessarily getting pushed either way, but I think that's accurate. Like I think this is going to be up in the high 220s to 230, despite both these teams being very, very good defensively. I think they have the weapons to score. Spot up stuff will be how Donnie finds them. Last year without Darius Garland, he had 16 potential assists, only turned into 5 assists, but I still think 4.5 is a low number for that reason. Also went over in the other game with DG, had 7 potential assists in that one that turned into 5 assists. But that's the other thing here is I think a lot of his assists are going to be at the rim, going to the rim. That team, the Thunder are going to have to make that decision. Do they stop Donnie right from getting that floater, or are they going to like take away Isaiah Hartenstein rolling to the basket? Jared Allen rolling at Isaiah Hartenstein, or Mobley rolling at him to the basket? Then he's going to have both of those, and I think that's going to be a lot of his points and his assists are going to be off of that play, and OKC having to make that decision, because the final point here is like OKC's not used to guys getting into the lane there, but Donnie I think will have enough success to be able to do that.
Yeah, and they've got Strus now, right, on the wing, and if he gets hot, it's just too much. I think for this current construction of OKC to deal with. Like I think you can take the Cavs here at -2 or less, and expect them to continue this incredible home win streak, and Donnie to lead the way. So maybe a little parlay there to get some of these stats involved, to get some plus money. I don't know why we're not just targeting the Washington Wizards every time they play, certainly when they're on a back-to-back here. So, I mean, Kelly Oubre, this line literally just came up as you're talking. It's 26.5 PRA. I think we like the rebounds most, but I don't see a line yet on just the boards. But the Sixers are already planning to sit a ton of people here, including Embiid and Paul George. And Oubre averages 15 or slightly over 15 when either one sits. I mean, he's barely played at all with neither of them. He hasn't played with neither of them and no Jared McCain, who's also obviously out.
Yeah.
And Lowry's out, and KJ Martin's out, and maybe even no Andre Drummond. So just all the minutes, all the rebound chances for Oubre, who had 11 boards on 15 rebound chances last time out, had the second most drives, right up there with Maxey, scored 13 points on those 11 drives. In their last game was against Phoenix, right? So, I mean, the Wizards are an easier matchup than everyone. They started basically 4 rookies tonight with Kyle Kuzma, and maybe Kuzma doesn't even play on a back-to-back.
Yeah.
And on back-to-backs, they're allowing 125 a game, 51% field goal shooting. In general, they just allow the most rebounds. They're 30th in offensive rating. They also allow the second most corner threes, which Oubre is going to have success there, and the highest field goal percentage at the rim. So it's just like whoever gets the opportunities here, they're certainly going to have success. I mean, Oubre, there's a slight revenge angle here against Washington. He just got his slight revenge against the Suns, but I think more importantly, like he's back from a little injury absence, and now he's going to be tasked to be like the number 2 tonight. Like it's him, Yabu, and Maxey. And I mean, like we just saw with Amen Thompson putting up huge numbers. Like if you get an opportunity against the Washington Wizards, you can make the most of it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I love the rebounds a ton. I mean, this man is, I think there's some double-double possibilities. I'm definitely going to be riding the tsunami poppy wave in this one for sure, as he's called. Should have called the Arizona thing. He actually is not just a former Sun. He like loves Arizona. It's where he has like his clothing company. I know he's got a house out there. So first game back, huge game for the man. Double-double, looked awesome. And well, yeah, it'll be him. We'll be getting some Yabu, like you said. We'll be getting plenty of Maxey, and then Caleb Martin in there, maybe some big booty Lowry as well. But yeah, this team's gonna be missing a lot. Is he already out? Yeah. All right. So yeah, I think
Reggie Jackson props. Yeah.
There you go. Reggie Jackson, Kelly O, Caleb Martin. I mean, it's going to be a small rotation, and so I think we can definitely get some love. Fast-paced game. This is tailor-made, yeah, for sure, for some overs. So let me go to that really good Bucks and Spurs game, which you mentioned in the best bets video is probably a better under. It definitely is. I think this is that thing should be at like 219.5. It opened at like 225, 226, already getting bet down. But here's where I'm at with this one is I'm taking Dame over 21.5 points, -120. There's almost no way that's going to be there, but I would take Dame up to 22.5, -120. And I think that'll be there in the morning for you guys when you're able to catch this episode. I'm still kicking myself for not taking Zach LaVine in the last game. I ended up betting on Josh Giddey, which was just a bad idea in that particular game against the Spurs, where now granted, Jeremy Sohan's not playing in this game, by the way, and that is to me their best like on ball and off-ball defender outside of the 7'6" monster that's playing by the rim. That's the next best defender on their team. And I would argue individually, he's a better defender. He can guard pretty much 1 through 5. He's out, which is really helpful on the pick and rolls with Giannis. Cause now we're talking about Harrison Barnes, maybe some Wemby guarding Giannis. I do think we'll see some of that. I think it'll be even, but that's going to be why I think Dame's going to end up shooting a lot. I think there's going to be some threes. I think the threes are probably a good bet as well. I believe those were 3.5. I didn't quite like the odds on it though. It could have been a little bit better if we're being honest. I just want to pull that back up real quick for Dame to make sure I'm not missing on it. 3.5 minus 120. I like when I'm taking 4 threes for Dame and he's averaging 3.5 on the season. I really want to see that number closer to even money before I would take it. So I just went for the 21.5 because he's still a free throw merchant that can still get there with that. But it's pick and roll ball handlers. It's primary ball handlers. It's guys who are controlling the action on the offense. That's who scores against San Antonio, in part because they're still playing Chris Paul for 32 minutes per game. So you can't shoot over the top of him. But they're not good. They're weakest above the break. Wemby is still rolling back to the rim to make sure that he can protect the rim. He's always going to be dropping down in this defense to make sure he gets there, which is another reason why you see Dame get a lot of points against teams that are good at limiting points in the paint, right? Like where this Spurs team is most dominant. They're very good at that because anybody playing drop defense is going to give up more shots to Dame, whether it's above the break for the 3 or the quick pull up or getting to the floater before the big man is able to come out to him, right? And that's what you're going to see here is they're going to have so many eyes on Giannis rolling to the rim in the pick and roll or Brolo popping out on the pick and roll. It's going to leave Dame more open. You can't just leave Brolo as well, by the way, which people have not been doing to their credit. But yeah, the drop defense will be helpful there. You look at Dame this season, if you filter things out in a way and you can see that who he's played, that's top 10 limiting points in the paint. He's gone over in 7 of the 9 games that he's played against those teams, averaging about 24.5 points per game in those games, which is where he's at on the season. So a little bit disrespectful. He had a bad game a little while ago, played 2 games in a row, then did fine against the Raptors in like 29 minutes or whatever because they smacked him. But I think he comes back well rested and is able to score at least 22 in this one.
Yeah, is this overly respectful to Steph Castle, who is still a rookie? But yeah, I mean, he's not like a true stopper yet. He's a good defender, but I don't think he's going to be able to just like turn that water off to that extent. Interesting, data from the Bucks lately, like just not fast breaking at all, not scoring a high percentage of points in the paint, just like living on a mid-range diet. And some of that is going to be Dame for sure, right? I mean, against the Spurs, who are flying around, they were struggling to limit 3-point attempts, to your point. So like the above the break stuff might be there, or they might just be like mortgaging a little bit on Giannis and forcing, some of these mid-range shots to continue, and Dame will oblige them because there ain't much else. I mean, Chris Middleton not ramped up yet to that point to be a true third scorer. So I think Dame at home should be good.
Yeah, he's still coming off missing time and stuff like that. So yeah, I think we're still some more work for him to be done for Chris Middleton. But that's all the time we have for you in Play of Props. Definitely make sure to subscribe to that page. Check out the best bets in the other episode that we have up for you. And until we see you next, happy betting.